Welcome back to Absolute Truth. This is episode 6, Politics as Usual. In this week's episode, we're going to cover issues related to the recent Republican presidential debate that happened on October 11th. And in the Thinking Out Loud segment of the show, I'm going to be talking about heroism versus celebrity status. To start off the show, I'm going to play a short clip for you from the presidential debate.
This is a New Hampshire native. His name is David Cody. He is chairman and CEO of Honeywell, and he is a former member of the Simpson-Bowles Commission. Here he is.
20 years ago, there were 1 billion people actively participating in the global economy. Today, there are more than 4 billion active participants in the global economy, with China, India, former CIS states, and other emerging economies now in the game. While that is a good and peaceful phenomenon, it also means we need to compete more strongly than we did in the past. We need an American competitiveness agenda. We need to inspire that American competitive spirit that has served us so well for over 200 years. I would like to ask, what would be on your American competitiveness agenda? And with one last small request, my guess is all of us are ready to accept that we're a great country and a great people. So if your response could focus on specifics, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Senator Santorum, we talked about jobs in Pennsylvania. A competitive agenda of yours would be what?
Well, I already put forward a plan. You know, Mitt, I don't want to go to a trade war. I want to beat China. I want to go to war with China and make America the most attractive place in the world to do business. And we need to do that with the agenda that I outlined, which, unlike Herman's plan, which could not pass, because how many people here are for a sales tax in New Hampshire? Raise your hand. There you go, Herman. That's how many votes you'll get in New Hampshire. Yeah. We're not going to give the federal government, Nancy Pelosi, a new pipeline, a 9% sales tax for consumers to get hammered by the federal government. How many people believe that we'll keep the income tax at 9%? Mm-hmm. Anybody? That's why people won't trust.
So if you keep mentioning 999 and Herman Cain, I'm going to have to go back to him every other question.
Thank you. Hold on.
That's right.
Charlie, whoa, I'm not done yet.
Thank you.
I'm not done yet. I've only been able to answer one question, unlike everybody else here. So let me just finish what I'm saying.
Right.
We need to repeal Obamacare. That's the first thing we need. You want to create jobs? I went to Ossipee yesterday, and I talked to a small businessman there, and he said, I will not hire anybody. I will not make a move until I find out what's going to happen with this health care bill and how it's going to crush me. And so repealing Obamacare, and we can do it. Not by waivers. That's the wrong idea, Mitt. The reason that's the wrong idea, because you get a waiver. California going to waive that? No. New York going to waive it? No. All these states, many of them, liberal states, are going to continue on, and then states like New Hampshire that will waive it will end up subsidizing California. We need to repeal it.
Yes, you did.
We need to repeal it.
But there's time.
I know. Well,
time. You see the red light. Time.
We need to repeal it.
All right.
By doing it through a reconciliation process, and since I have the experience and know how to do that, we'll take care of it.
I've got to go to the break, but I'm both going to give both Herman Cain and Governor Romney a chance to make their point, because they were both mentioned, first Cain, then Romney, then break.
Therein lies the difference between me, the non-politician, and all of the politicians. They want to pass what they think they can get passed rather than what we need, which is a bold solution. 999 is bold, and the American people want a bold solution, not just what's going to kick the can down the table.
Governor Romney.
Rick, you're absolutely right. On day one, granting a waiver from all 50 states doesn't stop at its tracks entirely Obamacare. That's why I also say we have to repeal Obamacare, and I will do that on day two with the reconciliation bill, because, as you know, it was passed by reconciliation, 51 votes. We can get rid of it with 51 votes. We have to get rid of Obamacare and return to the states the responsibility. No, not if you get rid of it. And particularly, by the way, the Supreme Court may get rid of it. Let me finish.
Okay, let him finish. Then we go to Huntsman. Then we go to the break. And then when we come back, each of you can question each other.
Hold on. That's the deal. And let me just say this, which is, we all agree about repeal and replace. And I'm proud of the fact that I put together a plan that says what I'm going to replace it with. And I think it's incumbent on everybody around this table to put together a plan that says this is what I'll replace it with, because the American people are not satisfied with the status quo. They want us to solve the problem of health care, to get it to work like a market, and that's what has to happen.
All right. Governor Huntsman, then we go.
It's disingenuous to just say that you can waive it all away. The mandate will be in place. The IRS is already planning on 19,500 new employees to administer that mandate. That will stay, and that's the ruinous part of Obamacare. And that, Mitt, that your plan is not going to do anything about
I said we're going to repeal it. Well, did you miss that?
No, it doesn't repeal the mandate.
No, I said I'm going to repeal it.
Wait, hold on.
Through reconciliation, you can repeal the taxes, you can repeal the spending, and therefore the mandate has no teeth because there's no tax penalty if you don't enforce it.
All right, we have much to talk about. When we come back, the candidates will ask questions of each other after this break.
Now, to me, when I went back and I watched the debate on YouTube, there was just a couple things that stood out to me. All the candidates seem to have some type of plan to solve our energy needs, our tax issues. They seem to have an answer for everything, which is what they're supposed to do. But the main issue is, how can these same people that were brought up in the system that work for different departments in the government want to run for president, and all of a sudden now they want to change the whole system? It doesn't really make sense. If you were part of the system, you helped build the system, you're not going to change anything. It's just a whole bunch of rhetoric and just a whole bunch of talk. To a certain extent, it makes me question what makes someone qualified to be part of the government, to be president specifically. Because you have Herman Cain, he's a businessman. He was on one of the financial boards in the government. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Fed. But yet, what is the actual qualification it takes to be a president of the United States, or even to be a senator, is a better question than all the things that are being asked right now. There are obviously people out there that are making bad decisions, such as the bailout. Why should the people be penalized for decisions that were made by major companies? You're taking money out of their pockets and moving it toward these larger companies, but yet the company CEOs are still getting bonuses and they're still getting their same salary that you would usually get. The middle class may be feeling the depression now, but poor people have been in the same situation for generations and nothing has changed. And actually it's getting even worse for them because it's even harder to get any kind of assistance. And when you do get assistance, it's actually a handicap because you just get used to having it and you never really make an effort to get out of that situation if it's at all possible, which most of the time it isn't. For example, Herman Cain's new 999 plan would implement a 9% national sales tax. Now, let's say a state like Massachusetts, which doesn't have a sales tax, the sales tax would go from 0 to 9%, which would make it harder for a low-income family to be able to afford the necessities. Because a low-income family isn't going to be going out and buying expensive things or large things, of course, but low-income families are just getting by each month. So if you raise the sales tax for them, then they're not going to be able to buy as much as before since they're paying more in sales tax. They don't have any expendable income to be able to pay that tax. It's hurting middle class and lower class people rather than helping them. Of course, it's still new to me and I have to do a lot of research, but that's just what it looks like. And that's not going to help the situation because the people who are really hurting from this downturn are the people in the middle class, but more specifically, the lower class people, which aren't really getting talked about. The middle class is what I hear about the most, which to me doesn't make any sense because the level of poverty in the United States for the family of four is $22,000. There are very few people on their own who can get by on $22,000, let alone a household of four. So this safety net he talks about it's non-existent. You can say welfare, you can say Section 8, but to a certain extent, how is that helping anyone? It's providing somewhere for them to live, and it's giving them some type of food. But yet, that's just keeping them exactly where they are now. Now for the Thinking Out Loud segment of the show. Earlier this week, I just had a thought. It seems nowadays everybody wants to be a celebrity. And to me, being a celebrity is someone who is all about them. They're self-centered. They want to be the center of attention. And I think that's really hurting our society because celebrity tendencies and characteristics have filtered all the way down to normal working people who aren't on TV. People are wanting to look like they just came out of a music video, always want to have the newest clothes or always want to look really well put together, like they're ready for a photo shoot of the club or whatever. But they spend so much time doing that, they're not doing anything for anybody else, which is what it means to be a hero. You don't need to go and save somebody's life, but it could be a small thing. You could mentor children, you can do community service, or you can even just giving your time to somebody else makes you a hero. And not too many other people are willing to do that anymore if it doesn't directly benefit them. And I think that mindset needs to change. Now that's our show for this week. You can contact us on our website at tolpodcast.com, at tolpodcast@yahoo.com, or on our hotline at 561-463-2691. Thank you, and I'll be back next week.